Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to kind of day 2 of wrestling in quarantine. I want to say that, so one of the things I'm going to do with the formatting of this is we are going to, when we start the next classes, we're going to go through a review of what we did yesterday. This is going to kind of help it stick. So really my intention is that you should be going through like one series of classes. So one playlist per day if you're doing this daily, but go ahead and let yourself digest one playlist before you go on to the next one. And so we will, on today's playlist, we will go ahead and we'll be going through everything that we did yesterday, just so that you guys have a pretty good foundation, and that we're reminding you of this. One of the things that I learned as a swim instructor is that you don't want everybody to be thinking about everything all at once. You want people to be reminded of things, because when we remind things, it tells our brain that it's important, and we actually kind of tend to retain better. So that's going to be one of the strategies I'm going to try to employ in this particular series, is trying to get you guys to remember. So we'll go through like a very quick reminder of everything, and if you guys have a laptop that you can be watching as you're practicing, I would kind of recommend doing it that way. I did get feedback already. This comes from a black belt that is contacting me through Meat Fighters. And he had some points on shrimping, and I'm going to go over some of these a little bit to kind of address a few things that he's talking about here, because I think that there was some good points that he made here. But what I'll also say is that this person is, I believe, a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and if you have particular expertise, if there's something that you want to see on this channel, I invite you to become a contributor, and I can give you access to the channel so that you can add your own videos, add your own playlists, whatever you want, just because, again, this is kind of a community project, and that's what I'm trying to build here, is community, and get people more, elevate that level, as we said in the introduction video. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and go through the warm-ups right now that we did yesterday, and then on the next video we'll go through everything that we covered yesterday in class. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first one, again, we're going to be doing our forward back rolls, and when I do these, I want to be really careful that I'm not putting any pressure on my neck. It stays down here in my shoulders, between my shoulder blades. And for the first couple of rolls, I'm just going to grab here, roll back, so that I am all of my shoulders. You see, I'm not trying to do anything fancy here, just kind of rolling back and forth, just falling into that butterfly stretch a little bit without really kind of forcing it. Now as I go back, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to open up, and I'm going to stretch out my legs. And if you can, without putting any pressure on your neck, you can go ahead and touch your toes like that. But for me, I put a little bit of pressure on my neck when I try to force it. So especially right now, I'm not at all warmed up, and my legs don't want to do it. So don't force it. If you can't do it, don't worry about it. Okay? So, and by the way, if you're watching this and you're not doing it with me, then you're not getting the benefit out of it. Okay? So this is real time warm up here. Now I'm going to go ahead and make that path that we talked about yesterday and touch our toe. So I'm looking where I'm going, but I have to. I'll stretch out that arm to kind of get myself a little platform and remind me to stay off my neck. Right? If you don't want to do that, you can continue holding behind your thigh. Right? Yes, the sound effects help. Alright, now I'm going to drive my heels up to the ceiling. I'm trying to make as straight of a line as possible. I'm trying to get those boots on so my toes are pointed back towards my nose. Going into that butterfly stretch. Notice as I'm doing these, I don't extend my arms a lot, right? I kind of want to practice maintaining that good defensive posture as I'm going through these warm-ups. Now I'm going to go into that triangle. Notice I'm dropping my hips a little bit into it and getting that little twist in my body, because that's going to really help us start to set that finish on that triangle. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and back up a little bit here so that I've got room to move forward and stay in frame. So I'm going to roll back. And I'm going to come up into that technical rise position. Notice again my hands. glued to my inner knee, close to my side. You can keep going if you want to. Notice I kind of do this little kick thing. My coach doesn't do this. I don't know that anybody else does it. It's kind of a weird thing that I do. And I just kind of get a little bit more of that hamstring stretch in there, a little bit of hip flexor stretch in there. So, and again, notice I'm stepping pretty far out for this because I'm getting that inner thigh stretch here. Right in there. Alright, now we're going to go one leg in, one leg out, so make that little S-mount position. And we're just going to fall into the stretch here. If you want to, again, we mentioned this yesterday, that if you want to get a little bit more of a piriformis stretch there, I'll drop that back leg back, got a little bit in the hip flexor, and I'm getting that muscle that tends to get tight, that kind of causes sciatica, if I'm coming out that way. But, again, you don't have to. Just coming down a little bit in that stretch, getting a little bit of that glute stretch in there as well. Now I'm going to come up. So again, I'm pointing my toes so I can create a little cylinder here. And you can ride that momentum up. Or you can pause and then lift, right? Now, if we want to, we come up, do a little shift. When I fall back, I keep my legs in the same position. Do that shift. Boom. Boom. Alright, now one that we didn't cover yesterday, this is a little bit of a hip mobility drill. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to face you for this one. So, I'm going to get into that S-mount position that we talked about earlier. And this one's really fun when you're next to like two straight guys and you can just like kind of wink at them or whatever. Just to make it a little awkward. So from here, I'm going to keep this knee down as I open this one up as far as I possibly can. And then once I can't go any further, I try to keep them as far apart as I can. And then come down into the S-mount position on the other side. So I'm here. And as I do it, I try to keep my upper body as forward as possible and not like coming, really far back. And I'm not trying to force it. Like, I don't want to like try to really pin myself forward. But I'm just going to try to stay as forward as I can. Right? And a lot of people I see, I do it too. I'll pin that leg down to remind me not to lift it up. But this is a little bit of a control thing. But it's also just, for mobility. So I can do it without. But you don't have to. You can pin that leg down if you want to kind of just get that opening up of your hips. Right? Alright, now I'm going to come back, I'm going to be in this bridge position. Remember what we talked about with our bridge? Our feet are shoulder width apart, right? So I'm here, I'm not here, right? You can kind of be here, like if you're in side control, but the thing is that I'm a lot easier to knock over, I'm a lot easier for my opponent to manipulate, and I don't have much ability to kind of like really move if my legs are close together. So I like them shoulder width apart so that, if I need to start to shrink out and explode out or anything, I have that mobility in my legs, whereas if they're closer together, it's going to be pretty hard to do that. So from here, my hips are as close to my butt as I possibly can, and let's go ahead and we're going to just do a couple here, coming straight up. So remember, this being close is what's going to help me get my hips up. I'm getting that glute engagement here, right? I'm not trying to lift but arching my back, but instead I actually tuck my tail like a scared dog, and I push up and I squeeze. There's no pressure on my neck as I'm coming up. Okay? And so that's going to help me get people off of me, get out of really bad positions. Now I'm going to actually get that bridge and roll a little bit. So I'm going to touch at about a 45-degree angle off to the side as I go into that bridge. So I want to think about my hips are going straight up, and I'm trying to get that top shoulder past my bottom shoulder. You might not get there all the way. That's fine. Just kind of keep that in your head and try to aim for it, whether you actually get it or not. And I don't want to, like, when I'm bridging, I don't want it to be this type of thing. You see my hips didn't come up at all. Like there's just barely a couple inches here, and I'm just kind of flopping out, right? Hips go up, shoulders twist. Boom. Because this is where all the power is for this. This is just a follow through. And again, when we're doing our bridges, I'm looking the direction that I want to go. Now, I'm going to open up my legs, let them flop open as wide as I possibly can. I'm going to try to keep one point of pressure on my back. Hips are off the ground, shoulders off the ground. If you grab the back of your head, do it with your fingertips so you're not like stretching too much in that spine. But you know, it could be here. Sometimes we tend to like hold on to our lapels and our keys. You can just cross here, whatever you want, right? But now I'm going to start those little circles. And again, the point is not about my legs, right? I'm opening my hips and they're like, I'm moving around in that that femoral joint, the hip joint. I'll let you know what it is later. I'm like spacing on the name of that joint right now. But my point is that I'm really trying to move the hips and keep everything off the ground. And this is something I didn't emphasize enough yesterday, but movement, I'm gonna go ahead and switch directions here. Notice this is a lot sloppier, and that's fine, okay? You're just trying to keep those hips moving. But the point of this drill, okay, windshield wipers, is to try to keep my, as little of my back on the ground as possible, right? If I am planted in here, I can't move, right? Again, like when we were talking about shrimping, which is going to be the next drill we're going to go into, I don't want to like drag my hips on the ground, right? And a lot of people do this, especially when they're beginning, and it's kind of a lazy thing that makes everything harder,